large number of attendees in all our seminar. This really motivates us to do more for our fraternity. Coming to today's seminar, Resolution Framework 2.0 for COVID-19 related stress. To deal with the subject, we have CA Sanjay Ji Khimani. A formal introduction will be given by CA Nitesh Bansal later on. I can tell you, since I have worked with him in social platform, a thorough, kind-hearted gentleman. If I am correct, only gold medalist CA from our city. We also recognize presence of RCM Sri Kamlesh Ji Sabu, past CCM Sri Mangesh Ji Kindre. Before going further, we have few announcements. Vocal for Local Speaker Series 4 will have concluding day tomorrow by young and dynamic Thanekar Omkar Gadgil, who will be dealing with intricacies of ITC in GST. Please do attend. Shortly, we will be celebrating 73rd CA Day, that is on 1st July. We will be taking up various other initiatives such as blood donation, tree plantation, mask distribution, apart from vaccination drive. If you have any suggestion, please do write to us. Respected members, I encourage you to freely ask any question to Khimani ji, but through chat box only. One more thing, that your Zoom name should be membership number followed by your name. Now I request CA Nitesh Bansal to formally introduce today's speaker, CA Sanjay Ji Khimani. Nitesh, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, Shiv Bhagwan ji. Good evening, friends. Thank you for being here on this Saturday evening. As you know, we all are facing COVID-19 pandemic crisis from last 16 months, and I am sure all agree that many times our stress level increased during this period. Today we have our Sanjay Ji Khimani to guide us to manage stress in this pandemic. Topic for the today is Resolution Framework 2 for COVID-19 related stress. We are pleased to welcome CA Sanjay Ji Khimani and would like to share a brief introduction of him. CA Sanjay Ji Khimani is a practicing chartered accountant. He was topper in Western region of ICI in CA intermediate exam and stood first in CA final. He was awarded gold medal and adjudged as the best student of the year 1990 by ICAI. He is also a qualified company secretary. He has also completed diploma in information system audit, certification course on forensic accounting and fraud prevention from ICI, and certificate courses on valuation. He is registered valuer by Insolvency and Bankruptcy Boards of India for securities and financial asset class. He is senior partner of Messrs. Nissim and Company LLP. He is heading the BFSI practice of firm since more than 20 years and have been involved in providing assurance, taxation, risk consultancy, management consultancy services to large and public sector, as well as private sector entities in the BFSI sector. He has extensive experience of conducting forensic audit as well as special monitoring of large projects on behalf of the lenders. He has addressed various seminars on various professional subjects conducted by ICAI. He is presently serving on the board of LIC Housing Finance Limited, which is second largest home loan provider in India. And he also served on the board of ARCIL, the then largest ARC in India. With this brief introduction, we understood that he is the right person to guide us on stress management during this COVID-19 period. Please welcome with huge round of applause to Shri Sanjay Ji Khimani.
Thank you, Nitesh. Yeah, thank you, Nitesh. Over to you, Sanjay Ji. Floor is yours. Please unmute yourself. संजय जी अनम्यूट कीजिए अपने आप को.
That's what I'm trying here. Okay. Am I audible?
Yes,
Sanjay bhai.
Thanks, Nitesh. And respected chairman of our Thane branch, Shiv Bhagwan ji Asawa, Kamlesh ji, my dear friend Mangesh ji, my senior and the friend philosopher guide Vinod ji, and unfortunately I do not know many of the members, and that's an unfortunate part. I have been staying here in Thane for last 1987, so 34 years. But unfortunately, this is the first time I am attending any program of the Thane branch, be it as a speaker or as a participant. That's an unfortunate event for me. very sorry, or I apologize for that. I'll make sure. Frankly, I never knew that our Thane branch is also so vibrant. So yesterday only I had addressed one seminar of all technical reviewers on the best presented accounts award, and that was an all India event. So एक जो बोलते हैं ना कि जो दिए ते लेन दे रहा है, मतलब अपने घर में जो है आज तक कभी गए नहीं, और जैसे मंगेश जी बोले साउथ जाके आ रहे हैं, हम सब जगह घूम रहे हैं, घर में कुछ किया नहीं, ऐसा हो गया सिचुएशन. So before that, I would like to maybe the stress management which was stressed by Nitesh ji, and let me put it like this.
Yes.
I'm not going to be discussing anything on the stress management. My topic is only on the financial stress.
Yes.
My topic is not on any other stress. I'm not a qualified doctor to talk about any other type of stress. So, with these opening remarks, let me start my presentation. So, friends, as you all know, the businesses, particularly MSME, has suffered very badly during the COVID period, and there has been huge demand that I think the government has to do something. They have to do some heavy lifting, and the Reserve Bank of India has also played their part by coming out with certain guidelines. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Sanjay ji.
So it is in a presentation mode, no?
Yeah. आप लार्ज करना चाहे तो F5 दबा के बड़ा कर सकते हैं, अदरवाइज इट्स ओके.
नहीं, मुझे नहीं पता, अगर लार्ज करना तो मैं कर देता हूँ. आई एम नॉट टू श्योर हाउ इट इज विजिबल.
100% कर दीजिए.
100% करेंगे तो बाहर चलाना जाए, एक बार करके देखते हैं. विजिबल है?
हाँ.
फुल स्लाइड
विजिबल है.
Okay, fine. So, Reserve Bank of India has come out with the guideline on 5th of May 2021. Prior to that, last year they had come out with a guideline on 6th of August 2020. Okay, and the need was felt that since the MSME has suffered very badly during the maybe the local lockdown which was imposed. So there is a need for the MSME to be given relief, and also various individuals or small businesses which have suffered. Unlike in the previous, I would say the lockdown 1.0, which was a nationwide lockdown where even industries were not operating. Maybe most of the entities theoretically had suffered, though subsequently it came out that the bigger has become bigger and the smaller has become smaller. So in fact, the need for the larger entity to have any kind of a resolution framework in maybe COVID 1.0 was not felt as much as the need for MSME was felt. And that's the reason Reserve Bank of India has come out with the guideline on 5th of May 2021. Now, these guidelines are basically for MSME and the individuals only. Now, I will try to cover these guidelines, and maybe I'll throw some light about the basic concept of restructuring and maybe the journey what we have covered so far. And considering that we are all practitioners, okay, so I'm not, I will be speaking mainly from the perspective of practitioners, in the sense, not from the bank audit perspective, but maybe as a practitioners, we might have a lot of MSME client or maybe a lot of individuals, how we can help them in availing the benefits, so that we are aware what are the benefits which are available and how to avail those kind of benefits from the bank.
संजय जी, इसको स्लाइड स्लो मोड पे कर सकते हैं क्या? स्लाइड स्लो मोड पे.
यार वो स्लाइड
अच्छा, नहीं हो रहा है तो ठीक है, कोई टेक्निकल नहीं, ये दिख रहा है, चलिए कोई बात नहीं.
ये नहीं है, स्लाइड शो मोड नहीं है. I think this is slideshow mode only. Can someone confirm? Okay. Now, before we move further, let us understand the key terms which are very, very important when we are discussing maybe the resolution framework or the restructuring. Now, the first and most important is the exposure. Generally, we are familiar with outstanding or maybe the sanction limit. So, what is an exposure? Exposure is higher of outstanding and the sanction limit. And when we are computing the exposure, we also have to include non-fund based exposure and also the investments which is there in any entity. So if we have a client who has outstanding investments in terms of maybe some debentures or maybe some let us say, or what do we call these preference shares which have been subscribed by the bank, that will also come into the exposure. So we should be very clear that these guidelines, wherever I am talking about, it will be applicable to the exposure and not to the outstanding balance. Second important definition is the default. Now, default, as we know, is nothing but the non-payment of any debt which has become due to the bank on its due date. However, when it comes to the default, for the purpose of cash credit account, a default is considered when the drawing in the account is more than the outstanding, more than the drawing power or sanction limit, whichever is lower, continuously for a period of 30 days. So the general parlance is default is the day when the account has become out on it is a default. No, that's not the way the circular defines. In the case of the CC limits, this is something which is outstanding for more than, irregular for more than 30 days. Then there is another concept called SMA, special mention account. Special mention account is something which was introduced by the Reserve Bank a few years back, just to make the lenders aware that if a particular borrower has not been, his account is not maybe up to date in other banks. Earlier, the data of only NPA was being made available. So there was a lot of borrowers who were trying to shift from one bank to another bank during the period when they had already started defaulting. So RBI had come out with the framework called CRIL framework, which is in a central repository of information on the large credit, whereby every bank on every Friday are supposed to be reporting any default by any borrower who has an exposure of more than 5 crores. And every month they are supposed to be submitting a detailed return to the Reserve Bank. The data of this is available to the bankers only. We do not have an access to the data. So, but we are able to identify where there is wherever there is a default. Now, what is SMA 0? SMA 0 is where the default period is from 1 day to 30 days. SMA 1 is where the default period is for the period from 31 days to 60 days. SMA 2 is the default period beyond 60 days, but before the account becomes NPA. We'll say what is NPA. I'm sure each one of us are fully aware what is NPA. Now, restructuring, we need to understand restructuring is a concession granted on account of borrower's financial difficulty. And what kind of concessions could be? Any kind of economic or the legal concession which we have given. So the concession could be reduction in rate of interest. Whether any reduction in the rate of interest can be considered as a restructuring, the answer is no. To give an example, if I have a home loan, let us say from ICICI Bank, which I have taken at maybe 5 years back, and that time the rate of interest was 7.5%. Now I am renegotiating that all around the rate of interest has come down. My rating is good. I am regular in the repayment. You reduce it and the ICICI Bank reduce the rate of interest to let us say 6.75%. Would it be considered as a restructuring? The answer is no, because it is known on account of my financial difficulty. Now consider a case where I have not been paying them regularly. My account is irregular. My payment capacity has got impacted because of the COVID or maybe because of any other reason. And then looking at this, they said, Kibos, no, earlier my installment was, let us say, 50,000 rupees a month. And I request them, Kibos, I am not unable to pay 50,000 rupees a month. Instead of 50,000, you fixed my EMI to 40,000 rupees and extend this to, instead of 10 years, let us say, for maybe 15 years. Would this tantamount to the restructuring? To my mind, the answer is clear, yes, because the main purpose for which this concession was granted. Now, when we are talking about the concession, here there is no concession in terms of money which is granted to me, because earlier also I was paying 7.5%. I will continue to pay 7.5%, and in fact for the longer period of time. However, the facility which I was supposed to be paying in a period of 10 years, I will now be paying in a period of 15 years, and which is something which is considered as a concession in terms of the RBI guidelines on the restructuring. Inter-creditor agreement is another term which is very, very important when we have to deal with any kind of resolution framework. So inter-creditor agreement is an agreement between the two banks. So like we have in the case of a consortium lending, we have the consortium agreement where the rights and responsibilities of both the lenders or all the lenders who are part of the consortium has defined. In the case of multiple banking, where the borrower has taken loan from independently from different lending institutions. So to give an example, for my business purposes, I have, and I am an individual, for a business purpose, I have taken a loan, let us say from ICICI Bank, and for some other purpose, or let us, I have also taken loan against property from Axis Bank. Both are secured on two different assets, so they do not share the charge between them. Now, if because of any financial difficulty, if I am requesting any one of them for restructuring my liability, which could be either by way of an interest concession or could be by way of elongation of that repayment term, or could be, let us say, granting additional facility. Now, those kind of agreements, when it is there, and if there are multiple borrowers, then inter-creditor agreement is a mandatory requirement. One is required to get it signed. Now, this is something which is applicable to the businesses. This is not something which is applicable for the individuals. Monitoring period is something which also we need to understand. So we earlier had a concept that a satisfactory period of 1 year was considered as a for upgradation of the account, which has actually got changed under the these restructuring guidelines. Now, at least 10% of the outstanding principal on the date of restructuring, when it is paid, that period is considered as a monitoring period. Now, if somebody makes payment of that within 6 months time, then it is 1 year which is considered as a monitoring period. So a minimum 1 year, subject to the period within which the 10% of the outstanding principal gets repaid, is considered as a monitoring period. And then there is something called specified period, which is a period within which, from the date of implementation of any resolution plan, whenever 20% of my outstanding balance has on the date of implementation of the resolution plan has got paid, that is something which is considered as resolution, specified period. NPA, I'm sure all of us are aware, because most of the people are practitioners, so I will not discuss with that. This is in terms of some of the some history of resolution framework which we had right from the starting from 1985. So those of you who has been practicing since long would know that there used to be called an animal called BIFR, which fortunately is, I won't say dead, because there are still cases which are pending in the BIFR. We all know what has happened to that. Started with the SICA provision with the BIFR. Then, since that was not something which was giving a desired result, the government came with the DRT, and there was a separate act for that. DRT since 1999, and actually DRT was the legal forum, but that was has its own limitation. Like Shika, the issue started coming up. There was a lot of delays. Then the Reserve Bank of India started a mechanism called CDR. That CDR mechanism was only for the large debt and that corporate debt. So that was started with the blessings of the RBI. That was something which was amongst the bank. And based on the mutual agreements which the banks had. So subsequently in 2002, to have the legal, maybe the backing, DRT was in a court process where the lenders did not have much of the power. Everything was through the court process only. In 2002, the SARFAESI came in, wherein a lot of powers were also given to the lenders themselves in terms of right to repossess the asset and various right to auction the asset earlier. Otherwise, all that was through the DRT order. So 2002, the SARFAESI came in. Now SARFAESI initially started with maybe the big bang, and as the time started passing, a lot of cases started getting piled up in the courts, and then SARFAESI also become ineffective, because for anything and everything people started approaching the court. And then for a very large framework, SARFAESI was not something which was considered to be very, very effective. So the RBI in 2014 came up with an idea of joint lenders from JLF. Then 2015, they came out with an SDR. This was the period when all of you, as are fully aware, that between maybe 2008 to 2013-14, there was a huge jump in the balance sheet size of all the banks, and which has resulted subsequently into the huge pile up of the stressed assets. So RBI first came out with the JLF, then they came out with the SDR, which was basically more on the change of the management, where the 51% of the equity could have been converted into the debt, which became little deterrent for the borrowers, but then there was no legal teeth to that. Then we came out with an S4A concept, but unfortunately, all these concepts did not see much of the, did not achieve much the desired result. And then in 2016, the IBC was launched. Now, IBC, as we all know, has been much desired reform which the government has done in the financial sector, and which has changed. The one thing which has actually IBC has changed is the mindset of the borrowers. पहले क्या होता था? पहले ये था कि बैंक का पैसा है, मेरा पैसा है. I am in the in charge of the company. Nobody can dethrone me. बैंक ने जो सरफेसी कर दिया, बैंक ने जो है आपका DRT में चले गए, कहीं पे भी चले गए, फाइनली मेरे हाथ से कंपनी जाने वाली नहीं है. मैं प्रमोटर हूं, मैं जो है आई विल डिसाइड किसको कितना पैसा देना है, कब देना है. And borrowers are, the lenders are always going to get my mercy. And then come 2016, when this IBC was implemented, things started becoming worse for the borrowers, particularly the borrowers who are becoming difficult and the larger ones. And we have a lot of large cases which we have seen, which could not have been imagined in the past, that these kind of companies can ever change hands, and the banks can recover the money. Notable among them is maybe the SR Steel, we could recover substantial money, or Bhushan Steel, we could recover substantial money, or Electro Steel. Of course, there was a lot of haircut in Electro Steel. So there are a lot of cases which are there. It has been, I will not say that no, IBC has been an all the success story. IBC also, a lot of cases has got piled up in the courts of late. But the one major change which has happened because of the IBC is the change in the mindset of the borrower, that the borrower had seen the cases where the borrower have landed themselves in the jail, and borrowers have also lost the control of their company, which has actually impacted all these large borrowers very badly. Now, on the top of that, And that was the reason when the RBI came out with this restructuring guideline way back in 2019, when the IBC was considered to be the last resort, in the sense that IBC can also lead to, while there is a restructuring which is possible under the IBC, that was in a legal framework. So the bank came out with the resolution framework in 2019. Of course, the flip side of that resolution framework was, the moment an account is restructured, the account becomes from standard asset, it becomes a substandard asset immediately on restructuring the account. So this is the basic principle which we have on restructuring or of any of the stressed asset. Now, to overcome that, these guidelines have come, which we are going to be discussing. So that in the previous slide, we discussed the journey so far. This slide deals with the current framework for the resolution of the stressed assets. So there are two approaches which is there. One is the resolution within the IBC. Second is resolution outside the IBC. Today's topic is not the IBC. Today's topic is resolution outside the IBC. So maybe I will, this IBC approach I will not discuss. शिव भगवान जी, मेरा इसमें एक रिक्वेस्ट और है. सो इफ द बोरोवर, आई मीन इफ द, आई एम सॉरी, बोरोवर ही आ रहा है यार. If the participants has any question, no, so they can ask then and there, because otherwise बाद में कितना अपने को समय मिलेगा या तो टॉपिक का आगे पीछे होगा. तो if it can be interactive rather than maybe more of a lecture, then I think that would serve the more purpose.
तो एक काम करूंगा, बोरोवर को चैट बॉक्स में पूछने देवे और मैं इमीडिएटली आपको डिस्टर्ब करूंगा. सब एक साथ डिस्टर्ब करेंगे तो गड़बड़ हो जाएगा.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. नहीं तो क्या होगा कि मेरे को जो है पता भी नहीं चलेगा. अच्छा ठीक है, मैं ये मोनोलॉग हो रहा है, क्या कुछ मैं बोल रहा हूँ समझ में आ रहा नहीं आ रहा है यार, कुछ मालूम नहीं पड़ेगा.
नहीं ठीक है. Requesting participant, if you have any question, please put in chat box. I will ask Sanjay sir.
So now today's topic is the resolution outside the IBC. So I have given you the brief background of this outside the IBC framework. Now, what is the IBC framework? So here in this slide is basically IBC framework is for the large exposure. And since today's topic is mainly for the MSME, maybe I will skip this slide. And if somebody is interested in this, maybe they can refer it when the slide is shared with the participants. This is the broad timeline which is there in the IBC outside IBC framework. So on the day of the default, and then within 365 days, this is something the entire thing is supposed to be getting over, and then how the provision is supposed to be getting released. So day of default is the start of review period. Review period is a period of 30 days. Now in entire exercise, the compromise settlement, which we called as an OTS, is not something which is part of this. So that's an agreement between the borrower and the lender to prepay based on whatever discounted value both of them have agreed. So that's not something part of resolution process. So at the review period is a period of 30 days within which the borrower is supposed to be approaching for either regularization or restructuring to the lender. Then we have within that 30 days, the borrower is supposed to be approaching. Then this 180 days period is for the regular resolution plan. Plan is 90 days. Within 90 days, this has to get implemented. So this 30 plus 90 would become 120 days. Now this 30 days is not sacrosanct in the revised circular. So the now what kind of concessions one can expect from the lenders? Okay. So when we are talking about concessions, so one is elongated repayment period as per the cash flow and the economic life of asset. So which is what? Which is my repayment period can in the present guidelines, this can get extended by 2 years. Otherwise, if you have to go by the 2019 circular, June 2019 circular, then there is no limit of these 2 years, because there the moment any concession is given, the account would become NPA. Then reduction in or step up rate of the interest reduction, we all know that the interest rate can be reduced. Step up rate of interest is the initially with the lender can agree to a lower rate of interest. Let us say initially they say, okay, no, I will charge only 5%. Then after 1 year, I will charge 6%. After 2 years, I will charge 7%. Something like that. So step up rate of interest can also be charged as the viability or in the future years the cash flow improves. You can have the higher rate of interest.
Sanjay ji, I have a
Yes.
question whether there can be interest-free moratorium.
Interest-free moratorium, nobody will give. When people talk about interest-free moratorium, is not that interest is not to be charged. Interest need not be served.
No, converted into FITL like.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So what I'm saying is, so like interest-free, the bank is not going to give anything interest-free unless there is a default, they are not able to recover. But can there be a moratorium period on payment of interest? The answer is yes, they can. There can be a period when there is no payment of interest at all. It can be structured that way as a part of restructuring package.
And
Because if you see the guideline, you can upgrade this only when the interest or principal, whichever payment starts later, and then after that 1 year.
okay. And second, you have told about step up rate of interest. How low interest rate can go?
So that is again 0% is, as you said, FITL is something which is 0%. Now bank is not going to take the entire hit. No, so 0% I am giving you today. I may say that okay, this 0% because my financial does not permit or does not will not be able to service the interest rate. So for the first 2 years I will charge 0% and then I will charge 12%. It can be done.
Okay.
So as far as this rate of interest is concerned, even in the present guideline also there is no restriction. Present guideline, the restriction is the repayment period cannot exceed for more than 2 years. Whereas as per the 19 guidelines, repayment period can be extended the way the borrower and the lender decides. That's the basic difference. But if you go by 2019, the account becomes NPA. So that's the disadvantage. And that's the reason for a small borrower, the bank may not agree to restructure the account simply because usko kya fayda hai, the moment restructure kiya account to NPA ho jayega, and nobody wants the account to become NPA.
Okay.
Okay. So funding of the overdue interest, can this be done in as a FITL? Yes, it can be done. Not only the past interest, even the future interest can also be converted into FITL. Okay, so you said the interest-free moratorium. So if we have, let us say the borrowers do not have a capacity to pay even for the next 6 months. So let us say if you have a retail store as your client who is into the garment. Now, garment shops were closed for the last 2 months. By the time now the monsoon season has come, there is not going to be any demand, but their meter for the interest and the interest, rent and salary is still on. So, and then the earliest probably they can see some light at the end of the tunnel is when the Diwali is there, or maybe when our Ganpati comes in. So the point I'm saying is that maybe they need a year's time just to survive and not to pay any interest. So can the bank grant? Yes, they can very much grant the interest holiday also. Even in the COVID, this restructuring, but as long as my overall repayment does not extend beyond 2 years. Then carve out the working capital irregularity into the working capital term loans. So that when we talk about FITL, so FITL is generally in the term loan. In the working capital, we have because my either there is a depletion in the stock, or I'm into the industry where my customers, my customers has also got seriously impacted. So मेरा जो repayment cycle है उनका, I had a 90 days credit. Now that 90 days credit has become, let us say 180 days or 210 days. Borrowers, I mean, my customers are finding it difficult to make payment. So what do I do? So if I have to go by the regular terms, then those accounts, those receivables does not fit into my drawing power. So what the bank can do, either they can carve out that, and irregularity, they can convert that into a working capital term loan with an elongated period. Okay, ये आपका जो है, as of today you don't have the something to support this, so I'm taking it out from your regular working capital. I'm giving you 2 years time, 5 years time, 7 years time to repay that, and rest of the working capital is will continue as it is.
संजय जी, if I understood correctly, that means that अगर आपका डीपी नहीं बैठ रहा, सपोज 10 करोड़ का सीसी लिमिट है, आपका डीपी 4 करोड़ या 5 करोड़ या 6 करोड़ बैठ रहा है, तो जो ओवर एंड अबव डीपी है, that will be converted into working capital term loan. Am I right?
Absolutely right. So that can be converted into working capital term loan. Okay. The only problem here is because of this 2 years restriction, if you do this, then you have to repay this in 2 years time. Okay. So what? So you can work on this on multiple fronts. So part of this you can do that. You can also look at request the bank that instead of 90 days, boss, you extend my drawing power. The receivables you give me 180 days. There is no legal restriction that you can't finance the receivable more than 90 days, right? Now, if my normal working capital cycle has become elongated because of this COVID restriction, so you permit me for next 1 year till March 2021, instead of 90 days receivable, you will grant me the drawing power for 270 days receivable. Now, will the bank agree? Bank will agree to this. Okay, bank can also similarly say, okay, in my not only the receivable, अभी मेरे पास में stock depletion है, जैसे मेरे को भी मेरा position tight है, मेरे को उतना stock मिल नहीं रहा है, credit पे मुझे भी नहीं मिल रहा है. Okay, so what they can do is, okay, instead of let us say 25% margin generally we have, can they reduce the margin instead of 25%? Can they say, okay, no, you now have only 10% margin, or let us say theoretically you have 0% margin. Okay, so all these things are permissible, both under the regular circular of 2019 as well as the COVID circular, as I mentioned, and I'm repeating at the cost of, at the cost of repetition, the only this thing is that overall period cannot exceed more than 2 years. That we have to keep that in mind. Then conversion of unsustainable debt into the convertible, optionally convertible debenture. Now the example what you gave, that working capital है, अभी मेरे को तो 2 ही साल में पे करना है, ठीक है, अभी 2 साल में तो मेरे को पे करने की कैपेसिटी नहीं है, तो कैन आई कन्वर्ट नाउ इफ यू आर लिस्टेड एंटिटी, तो आपका जो है उसको ऑप्शनली कन्वर्टेबल डिबेंचर में भी ले सकता है. अभी ये कोई पब्लिक सेक्टर बैंक तो ये करेगा नहीं, लेकिन प्राइवेट सेक्टर बैंक ये शायद इस पे भी एग्रीएबल हो सकता है, या इक्विटी में कन्वर्ट कर सकता है. So there are various modes within which concessions can be granted by the lenders. So we should be aware that what all we can ask for our clients. So all these things are available, and it is not that they don't grant. They do grant. Obviously, they have to be doing their own due diligence, and not only that, they can also grant additional limit. Okay, so let us say someone is into an industry where now the guy doesn't have मेरा तो वर्कर भी भाग गया, सब कुछ भाग गया, अभी मेरे पास में पैसा नहीं है, हाउ डू आई स्टार्ट द प्लांट अगेन, मैंने बिजली का बिल नहीं भरा है, मेरा सारा प्रॉब्लम हो गया है. They can give me an additional facility, okay, and they can give me even a clean facility which I can start utilizing and then can come back on track. So all these concessions obviously can be granted by the, though granted by the lender, obviously they are not going to be granting all of them to everyone. They have to assess the borrower's track record. They have to assess the, let us say, or a typical अपना तो mental frame हो गया है कि नहीं, उसका asset cover क्या है. So many times क्या होता है, we have an asset but we don't have a liquidity. So मेरे पास में asset तो है लेकिन liquidity नहीं है, but business धंधा करने के लिए तो liquidity चाहिए ना.
Yes.
You can't sell the asset and realize the money because then the business doesn't exist. Okay. So what I'm saying is all these options are available to the bank and we can guide our client. Okay, that these are the options which are, and client तो generally MSME में हो सकता है उतना capability नहीं होता है, तो that role we only have to be playing. I do not know how many of the practitioners are practicing in let us say arranging finance from the banks for their clients. But those of the participants who are doing it, they must be fully aware because वो अभी कर भी रहे होंगे ऐसा.
Yes.
So if there are no more questions, then I'll move to the next slide.
Yeah.
So क्या हो गया? ये यार क्या बना दिया भाई ने? Okay. Now this is for resolution framework 2.0 for COVID related stress. Now earlier what we had discussed was in general for any type of a stress, this circular is only for the COVID-19 related stress. So the first and foremost is for the applicability of this circular, we have to have first prepare a document and substantiate to the bank that my client has suffered on account of COVID. Now, to give you an example, let us say we are just talking about restructuring or repayment of, let us say, housing loan or loan against property. Okay. Now, loan against property में if I have given the property to the bank, bank has been functioning, bank मेरे को rent बराबर दे रहा है, या कोई ऐसा इसको दिया है, लेटर से बैंक को छोड़ देते हैं, कोई ऐसा मैंने गवर्नमेंट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को दिया है या लार्ज एंटिटी को दिया है, मेरा रेंट बराबर है, why will they restructure? They will not restructure. तो बहती गंगा में हाथ इसमें नहीं धो सकते हैं. So first we have to demonstrate that no, the client has really suffered on account of COVID-19. And when I am talking about client, it need not be business, it is even the individuals also. So individuals का क्या हो सकता है, एक बिजनेस है उसकी वजह से भी हो गया है, दूसरा नॉन बिजनेस में सैलरीड बंदा है उसकी नौकरी चली गई है, क्या करेंगे, या उसके यहाँ पे जो है नौकरी तो नहीं गई है लेकिन जो है उसने बोला है कंपनी ने कि यार बॉस में मेरा तो खुद का कैश फ्लो का प्रॉब्लम है, फॉर फ्यू मंथ्स वी विल पे यू ओनली 50% ऑफ द सैलरी और वी विल डेफर पार्ट ऑफ योर सैलरी. So the repayment capacity of the borrower also, the individual home loan borrower has also got impacted. So that is first and foremost we have to determine whether our client has suffered on account of the COVID-19 situation. So that documentation we have to prepare. Now, which all the entities to which this framework is applicable. So one is MSME borrower and second is the personal loan. So personal loan is not the personal loan what we understand. Personal loan is basically loans granted to the not for a business purposes. So आपका home loan भी personal loan में आ गया, अपना car loan भी personal loan में आ गया, पर्सनल लोन लेते हैं वो भी आ गया, मैंने एजुकेशन लोन लिया वो भी पर्सनल लोन में आ गया. So no, I would say so more of a consumption type loan is in a personal loan, and then otherwise rest of the are considered in a business loan. Now the beauty of this restructuring is that rather I would say the only benefit of this restructuring is that when even if the account is restructured, the exposure would remain standard. This will not get downgraded because of all these restructuring which has been given, as long as the restructuring meets these guidelines. If any package which is given or concession which is given is not in accordance with this circular, then the June 19 circular would be applicable and the account would become NPA straight. And obviously no lender, no bank or NBFC is going to be agreeing to grant any concession when their account becomes NPA. So that all of us are fully aware. Second condition is that the borrower should not have availed the benefit of earlier circulars. So there was two circulars. So August 6, 2020 circular, as I was mentioned, was on a COVID during the COVID. So that was 1.0, which was available to everyone, barring few which is still not available. And then for MSME, earlier there was two more circulars, February 20 and January 20. So as long as they have not availed any concession in the past. So if somebody, let us say one borrower, because the example which I gave you was of, let us say, our these people, ट्रेडर मैंने बताया आपको, टेक्स्ट अपना गारमेंट वाला. नाउ गारमेंट उस टाइम पे भी बंद था, आज भी बंद था, उसने पहली बार में कंसेशन ले लिया है. Would he be eligible for further concession in this? Generally no, but there are exceptions which we will deal with the later. So for, let us say, MSME client who is there, who has availed the benefit of this framework 1.0, would he be eligible now? The answer is clear, no, he would not be eligible now for this framework at all. Now, board approved policy is of course for the lender, so I am not discussing that. Then the reference date for the outstanding amount of debt is March 31. Now this is the reference date. This does not mean that the outstanding as on date, as on 31st March. So reference date is basically to determine whether the account was standard as on that date or not, because one of the condition of the account becoming eligible, it apart from being an MSME or apart from being in a personal loan or apart from being impacted by the COVID-19, the account should have been standard as on 31st March 2021. Now this is one big relief as compared to our August 2020 circular. August 2020 circular was that the account should not be SMA1. That means the period of default should be not more than 30 days. Here, the only condition which is there is it should be standard as on 31st March 2021. So even if the account is NPA today, can this account be restructured? The answer is yes, this can be restructured. And not only this can be restructured, because NPA account can be restructured even in 2019 guideline also. But this can get upgraded on implementation as long as the account was standard as on 31st March 2021. So that's an, I would say, the advantage of this circular. And if our clients who have suffered, I think we must take advantage of this. Now, what is that which is not applicable? I mean, this circular is not applicable to, this is not applicable to the farm credit, which is in a direct credit, which the bank grants by way of, let us say, Kisan credit card, or Kisan cash credit, or maybe your agricultural term loan, or those kind of things, or indirect credit extended to for the agriculture, to the primary agricultural credit society, or this farm service society, or large size society, or exposure to the financial services provider, or the obviously state government, etc., and the housing finance company. Now, you might wonder that why they have left out, let us say, the agriculture. One might get a feeling कि यार ये जो है मतलब गवर्नमेंट ने सबको बेनिफिट दिया है, एग्रीकल्चर को क्यों नहीं दिया? The reason why this circular is not applicable is for agriculture, they are impacted because of the natural calamity, and natural calamity, there is a separate circular which is something which is applicable to them. The allied activities of the agriculture, let us say, which was fishing, or your fishery unit, or maybe the poultry unit, or maybe our dairy farming. So whether they are covered, the answer is yes, they are covered. But the core agricultural activities are not covered, because they are supposed to be covered, and they are, I mean, the presumption is that they will get impacted only on account of the natural calamity. Otherwise, there is no impact as far as the COVID-19 is concerned. And that decision to grant any benefit is being taken in consultation with that SLBC, क्या बोलते हैं उसको यार, state level bankers committee. So that is the period, I mean, region specific decision is being taken for the natural calamity. If certain region, like people have suffered because of these, recently we had these two typhoons, no? So because of that, one was in our west coast, and the other one was on the east coast. So people have suffered. Yes, they have suffered. So are they eligible for the restructuring? Yes, but that's for under the different circular. So that's the reason farm credit or the credit to the agriculture is not something which is covered in this. Then another important thing, whether the project under implementation involving deferment of date of commencement of commercial operations, are they covered under this? The answer is no. And why they are not covered under this? Simply because even for 2019 circular is also not applicable in the case of project under implementation, where the only concession which is being given is the deferment of the DCCO. So that can still be done because the guideline as per the 2015 circular of the IRAC norms, master circular, which deals with this DCCO deferment. So a project loan can be deferred for a period of 2 years without the account becoming NPA. Okay, so like let us say our Thane Metro, because of certain reason, the project has got deferred beyond the control of the, let us say, whoever is the promoter of that entity. Then can their implementation period, I mean the commencement period, commercial operation date can be extended? The answer is yes, without the account becoming NPA. So this circular, they don't have to go by this circular. Master circular of 2015 itself deals with that. I'll move to the next slide. So if there are any questions in this, we can discuss. Otherwise, I'll discuss the next slide.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Now, these are the applicability. So I think I already mentioned individual borrowers, consumer credit, education loan, housing loan, loan against shares are also covered under this. Okay. This is not applicable to the credit facilities provided by the LI is the lending institution to their own staff. Obviously, because unka to salary to time se ja raha hai, they are not at all impacted by the COVID at all. This I think eligibility I have discussed. Borrower accounts classified as standard as on March 31, 2021, and borrower should not have availed this restructuring as in the previous framework, except, which is what I said, that except where the moratorium which was granted last time was less than 2 years. Now that can be extended up to 2 years in aggregate. So let us say in the first COVID 1.0 relief, the borrower was granted 1 year moratorium. He said, "वो सभी तो ठीक है, चालू हो गया ना, 3 महीना सफर किया, 6 महीने में और things will come on track. I'll give you 1 year moratorium, or I'll increase your repayment period by 1 year." Now that 1 year can be extended by another 1 year now, and the overall it can get extended by 2 years, and that something can be done within this circular. No other concession can be granted if there was a concession granted under that 1.0 framework. So if the FITL was converted last time, can this be converted now? The answer is no. Whether any additional facility can be granted now, the answer is no. Interest rate or your margin cannot be reduced. All those things cannot happen now. The only thing which can happen is you can increase the period extend the repayment period by 2 years, or the moratorium you can give further if you have not given the earlier for 2 years. Invocation not later than 30th September 2021. Now, what is invocation also we need to understand. So generally, when today, let us say this circular has come in on 5th of May 2021, and then within 30 days, the bank or the lenders were supposed to be preparing their policy and then place it on their website. So generally, till the time the policy is in place, they are not supposed to be restructuring any proposal. The last date for that was 5th of June. So everybody by now has uploaded their policy on the website. So now, in the meantime, between 31st of March and let us say 5th of June, the account has become NPA. No worry. You can still approach the bank for the restructuring under this circular. Now, when we approach the bank is supposed to respond within 30 days. They are supposed to be taking a decision. I'm not saying decision to implement. So decision is that, okay, whether I'm going ahead with this or not. Now that invocation, what I'm talking about is that within 30 days, the bank has to agree that, okay, I will restructure. And that agreement has to be by way of a written communication to the borrower. So when we are advising our client, or if we are handling any of the assignment of our client for restructuring this, we should keep this deadline in mind, that within 30 days, they are supposed to be giving us a letter, and that date becomes the date of invocation, because that date is very, very important. Because the next point is that the implementation period is from 90 days from the date of invocation. So we have to ensure that we have a document available with us, so that tomorrow there is no dispute. तो बोलेगा नहीं नहीं 90 days तो मैं आपको जिस दिन application दिया था उससे पकड़ूंगा. Okay, so there should not be any confusion. So the circular very clearly provides that they are supposed to be giving a written confirmation to the borrower that they have agreed to proceed with the resolution plan. And most important in this is that whatever this invocation has to get invoked, I mean, has to happen on or before 30th September 2021. The likelihood of this getting extended as of now doesn't appear to be very high, because last time also, with great difficulty, with so much of a pressure from everybody, they did extend the date, but they had extended for 3 months, from December 20 to the March 21. And despite so much of a pressure, this time they did not agree to grant similar concession, because this is only to those people who did not avail it earlier. So it is not an extension of the earlier one. The point I am trying to say is this is not an extension of the earlier one, because जिसने पहले ले लिया उसको नहीं मिल रहा है. So what benefit can be given? I think this we have already discussed what benefit can be given. Okay. Now, similarly, for small businesses, so we discuss about the individuals, and for small businesses, so small businesses is basically the businesses which are other than MSME. MSME is in a separate class by itself. So I will deal with that in the next slide. The only condition is the aggregate exposure of the lending institution. We have to be very clear here is aggregate exposure of not one bank, of all the lending institutions put together. Now, lending institution could be not only the banks, could be the NBFCs. Even जो मैंने NBFC से exposure लिया है, which is even let us say unsecured exposure है, वो भी इसके अंदर cover हो जाएगा. So we have to be and आजकल जो सारा exposure है आपको सिबिल का स्कोर में सब मिल जाता है कि इसने कहाँ से क्या लोन लिया है. So this we should be very clear that the aggregate exposure as on 31st March 2021 does not exceed 50 crores. This I think is same what we have discussed earlier in the for the retail customers. So there is no change. MSME classification, as we all know that there is the definition of MSME has undergone a change. I'm not going to be dealing with what is the MSME. All of us must be aware. The clients with whom we are dealing, we should be aware about that. What I'm saying here is that unlike last time where the MSME registration, the earlier one was acceptable. In this scheme, the earlier registration will not be accepted. You need to have that Udyam Aadhaar number to get the benefit which is available to the MSME borrowers. Second thing is, all these MSME clients, whether all MSME clients are eligible for this, the answer is no. The borrower has to be registered with the GSTIN. Now, unless that particular borrower falls into exempted categories, वो कोई taxable service ही provide नहीं कर रहा है, तो उसकी सारी की सारी services है वो exempted category में आते हैं, and that exemption has to be as on 31st March 2021. ऐसा नहीं है कि वो मार्च में वो तो taxable में था, अभी वो exempted में आ रहा है तो उसने registration नहीं लिया, फिर उसको benefit मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा. So he should be GSTN registered, and suppose if the fellow has not been registered in the GSTN, then we can register them now before making an application. So you also have another opportunity. If some borrower is there and who has not got himself registered, we can still register him before the date of making the application and take the benefit under the circular which is applicable to MSME, provided the borrower is eligible to get registered under both classified as under MSME and eligible to get registered under the GST. This I think I have already mentioned that the account will remain standard without any downgrade. Now, this table lists out the 4 circulars which has been issued on the MSME restructuring. Okay, so I just try to compare how the needle has moved right from 25 crores कैसे आ रहा है 50 crore किया मैंने. There is a typo here. So the aggregate exposure is actually 50 crore. There is a typo here. So earlier it was 25 crores right from Jan 2019 onwards. This 25 crore has increased to 50 crores. So that's an additional benefit, and many more entities would get covered because of this 25 becoming 50. So that is one set of clients which you can target who were not eligible earlier would have become eligible now. Exposure as on March 31, we know. So required classification, it should be standardized on the date. Yes, it should be. GST registration is mandatory. Restructuring to be implemented by. So as I mentioned earlier, there was different dates which were given. So in the 19 circular, if you look at it, there was a long period of 15 months was given. If you look at February circular, about 10.5 months were given. If you look at your August 20 circular, about 7 months were given. Now, if you are looking at this May circular, 3 months have been given. So the point which we need to note is that progressively the regulator has been reducing the period within which this restructuring has to get implemented, because we cannot have a situation where सैंक्शन तो करवा लिया लेकिन इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं हो रहा है. इम्प्लीमेंटेशन का मतलब क्या होता है? इम्प्लीमेंटेशन का मतलब ये होता है कि इफ वी हैव एग्रीड टू लेट अस से एडिशनल टू ग्रांट एडिशनल सिक्योरिटी, तो एडिशनल सिक्योरिटी का जो है मेरा मॉर्गेज अगर होना है तो हो गया है, उसका चार्ज क्रिएशन जो मेरे को डीड ऑफ हाइपोथिकेशन है, मॉर्गेज करना है, आरओसी में फाइल करना, ऑल दोस फॉर्मेलिटीज हैव बीन कंप्लीटेड. Those my loan documentation has got completed. This account has the whatever changes which is required to be made in the bank's database in the client master or in the borrower master, all those things has got implemented. Let us say one of the condition for implementation was that the borrower is supposed to be bringing in 10% margin of whatever bank is giving. Now that 10% has also come. So all those activities has to happen within 90 days, and that 90 days would effectively mean 29th December 2021. So, and it is not that it has to happen before by 29 December. It is 90 days. So even if you start it now, it will be 90 days from now, provided it is, I mean, you have the date of invocation is now. Okay, so when we are advising the clients, we should also keep in mind that the implementation, I mean, you time your invocation in such a manner that you will have clear 90 days to implement it. नहीं तो आपने आज application दे दिया है, 30 दिन में जो जून एंड तक दे देगा, लेकिन उसके पास में पैसा जो बोरोवर के पास में आपके पास में आने वाला है, मान लीजिए कि उसको कुछ प्रॉपर्टी बेच के आना है और वो पैसे आने में 3 महीने लगेंगे. तो it is better not to approach now, better to defer it. Obviously, we have to approach it before September, but you need to time it depending on your client's need, that when to approach it, so that this 90 days window is not lost. One additional thing which has happened this time is that earlier the required provision was additional 5% provision was required to be made, though the account was considered as standard assets. So for MSME borrowers, the regular, I think, provision on standard asset is 0.25% for MSME. Now that 0.25% was got increased to 5%. Now that 5% has become 10% here. So that's a big detriment, for the bank not to go ahead with this. Though the account would not be classified as an NPA, 50 crore का account है तो उसको 5 crore का जो है provision immediate करना है. And bankers would be very reluctant in extending this benefit mainly because of this provision. वो बोले यार मेरा मैं hit क्यों लूँ 5 crore का मेरे में, ठीक है. So that also you should be very clear. You should be devising your strategy in terms of how do you go about that, because 10% का provision बैंक को करना है. So by board approved policy, there is no change. Now, invocation of the resolution process में एक important चीज है which though is theoretical but may happen in few of cases in case of multiple lenders. So when there is a multiple lenders, then as I was mentioning that you have to have these that ICA, and then this restructuring process also has to agree by 75% of the lenders in value and 65% by this. Now let us look at a situation that you have two lenders who are independent of each other in terms of sharing the security. These are multiple lenders. They are not your regular lenders. So this condition would not apply there. The only condition which would apply is that they are supposed to be signing the ICA, which itself can at times can turn out to be a challenge. So this I already mentioned. If any of the above timelines is breached, the resolution process cease to apply. And what is the consequences of that? If this process is, let us say, doesn't apply, the consequences of that is that the account which has been considered as standard would need to get downgraded to substandard or the NPA. Then in your resolution framework 1.0, there were various sector specific guidelines which were required. Now those guidelines are not applicable when we are looking at this. So there are various guidelines where committee which was formed, they gave ये जो है अपना tourism में है तो इतना turnover ratio होना चाहिए, इतना TOL to TNW, इतना current ratio, this that, and those guidelines were very difficult to comply with many of the borrowers. Okay, so those guidelines are not applicable when we are going for the restructuring under this. So this we can say is a much more liberal, except that the timeline which is given is very tight, which is 90 days within which this is required to be implemented, which your client sometimes may find it difficult because the borrower may need time to bring in the money as their share. Except for the MSCM account that has been restructured under these circulars, other MSCM account have to be classified as NPA upon restructuring. I think I have already discussed this. Then half of the provision may be returned back upon the borrower paying at least 20% of the residual debt without slipping into NPA post implementation of the plan, and remaining half. So the 10% provision which is being made by the bank. Now, whether this 10% will remain perpetual, the answer is no, because instead of 0.25%, they are making 10% provision. And that, let us say the 9.75% provision which is being made, that 9.75% is not perpetual. That can be returned back in a period of, let us say, before March itself. Okay, so that is one of the, when I told you that we need to be looking at the strategy to devise for your client. Can we look at a situation whereby we say that, okay, boss, I will pay 20% of the debt by before 31st of March, so that we are able to at least write back half of that, or I'll pay 30% of that before 31st March, so that you can write back the entire amount. So while you might get impacted in the quarterly results, but you don't get impacted in the yearly results. So you don't lose anything, I don't lose anything, and I'll pay you 30% of that, and then 70% you still have got time. So this is basically, you can look at how you structure your client's proposal, and more so, it will be easier for you if you are dealing with the cooperative bank simply because they are not listed. So they don't have this pressure of the quarterly numbers. But when you are dealing with the banks other than the cooperative banks, you might be facing this challenge because nobody would like to take 10% hits. So वो extreme cases में ही आपको जो है restructure करने के लिए agree होंगे. That's the flip side of all these provisions. So this is what I had discussed so far was mainly from the borrower's perspective. Now, what is going to be asset classification in the books of the bank? Okay, existing exposure, standard on implementation of the resolution plan. So to give an example, the account was standard on 31st March 2021. Let us say it was 80 days DPD on 31st March 2021. So on 10th of April, the account has become NPA. Now you have approached the bank sometime, let us say in 1st of August, and 30th of August, the bank has agreed to invoke this. And let us say within 90 days, which is let us say end of November, by first week of November itself, you have implemented this. On implementing this, the account will automatically become standard. So the tag of NPA, which was fixed to the borrower, will get lifted immediately on implementation of the resolution plan. Now, as a part of the resolution plan, if the borrower has been granted additional facility, and if the resolution plan has got implemented within 90 days, even though the first facility has become NPA on 10th of April, this facility can remain as standard asset till the time the plan has got implemented within 90 days. If it has not got implemented, then the worst of two things has to happen. I hope I am clear so far.
Yes, संजय जी. खाली एक क्वेश्चन आया था, whether you have seen it or not. Let me ask you that question.
बताइए.
Question ये था, whether bank can increase rate of interest because of additional provisioning required of 10%. So
they can definitely increase. So the way probably to look at is that we discuss about the step up rate of interest. Okay, I am talking from the client's perspective, or I'm not talking from the bank's perspective. Obviously, nobody would like to take a hit, so they would say, okay, you compensate me for this. Okay. So whether the argument should be that goes as it is, यार मैं तो मरा हुआ हूँ तभी तो तुम्हारे पास में आया. Okay, you want to raise the increase, make it as a step up instead of doing it now. Let my balance sheet stabilize and you raise it after 6 months time. You agree to that, something like that. What I'm saying is, you can definitely agree. There used to be a clause called क्या बोलते थे उसको, clawback तो अपना equity में होता है, इसके लिए recompense clause. There used to be a clause called recompense. Now here, I will not call this as a recompense because theoretically bank has not lost anything. It is only a provision which is there. So something like recompense can be agreed between the borrower and the lender. Or you can say कि वो मेरे से आप fee ले लो ना यार. उसके लिए जो है, in any case you are going to be charging me a fee for restructuring that. So instead of having let us say 0.5%, you charge me 1% for that, something like that.
Got it.
But कोई prohibition नहीं है that interest rate cannot be increased. It can be increased. Asset classification post implementation. So asset classification post implementation तो पर्सनल लोन है तो मेरा IRAC नॉर्म जो है उसमें जो भी रीपेमेंट पीरियड चला गया उसके हिसाब से 90 डेज का नॉर्म्स है वो मेरा चलेगा. ठीक है. इसमें जो है अदर एक्सपोजर, सो अदर देन द पर्सनल लोन विच आर बेसिकली लोन टू द स्मॉल बिजनेसेस और लोन टू द MSME. ओके, सो डिफॉल्ट क्योर्ड एट द एंड ऑफ द रिव्यू पीरियड. सो रिव्यू पीरियड अपन ने शुरू में जो डिस्कस किया ही था, तो अगर उसमें रिव्यू पीरियड में डिफॉल्ट क्योर कर दिया है तो स्टैंडर्ड रहेगा, अगर नहीं किया है तो वो एनपी हो जाएगा। सो प्रोविजनिंग जो मैंने कहा 10% ऑफ द रीनेगोशिएटेड एक्सपोजर करना है, और provision of IRAC norms immediately before the implementation. So when we are looking at it, 10% is in case of a standard account. If it is an NPA account, then obviously NPA का minimum 15% तो है, इसको 15% करना ही करना है, NPA का तो NPA को लगना ही लगना है, otherwise 10% provision is required to be made. And this I think we already discussed, 20% provision is required to be made on this. So additional provision जो अपने को 10, अरे यार 20% क्यों आ गया, 10% provision करना है. Sorry for the typo. It is the 10% provision which we are required to be making on on implementation of the plan. If the plan is not getting implemented, obviously we have to make the account as NPA. I think reversal we have also discussed. 20% का पेमेंट कर देंगे तो आधा रिवर्स हो जाएगा, बाकी का पेमेंट 10% का कर देंगे तो पूरा रिवर्स हो जाएगा. Now this slide I have tried to summarize whatever we have discussed so far. Or rather this I think I have covered everything which is required to be discussed for the this. So basically this what I'm trying to say is, from the practitioner's perspective, I think we should be looking at our clients into the three categories. Because मेरे को जो है, which are the clients which are severely impacted, which are the clients which are moderately impacted, which are the clients which are I would say, or I would say less impacted or mild. Mid नहीं है, mild है, mildly impacted. Now what we need to be ready with. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm trying to discuss the opportunities which the practitioners would have it here. So उसका जो है, बैंक में जाएंगे, आप जाएंगे तो उसके वो मालूम है कि वो क्या क्या मांगने वाला है. तो मेरे को अगर कोई मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट वगैरह है तो उसको वायबिलिटी एक चाहिए होगी, तो जरा मैं टीवी वगैरह करवा के रख लूँ क्या. मेरे जो है प्रॉपर्टी जो रिवेल्यू जो ये दे रहा हूँ, जो मॉर्गेज दे रहा हूँ, या तो कुछ एडिशनल मॉर्गेज देना पड़ सकता है, उनका मैं एक वैल्यूअर और दो वैल्यूअर डिपेंडिंग ऑन द अमाउंट ऑफ बोरोइंग, उसका वैल्यूएशन रिपोर्ट करवा के रख सकता हूँ क्या. एंड स्टॉक एंड रिसीवेबल ऑडिट वो बिल्कुल मांगेगा टू डिटरमाइन हाउ मच इज द इरेगुलरिटी. सो वेदर आई कैन एडवाइज द क्लाइंट कि वो ये सारी चीजें आप अभी से जो है करवा के रखो, सो दैट वी कैन मूव द एप्लीकेशन इन नेक्स्ट 1 month's टाइम. सिमिलरली अभी मार्च 21 का जो है अपना फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स है, वो उसका मैं, बिकॉज वी आर ऑलरेडी इन द मंथ ऑफ जून, मैं उसका ऑडिट खत्म करके उसका जो है व्हाट एवर रेशियोज विच आर रिक्वायर्ड टू बी मेंटेन्ड, whether they are able to maintain that or not, and if they are not able to maintain that, at least मैं प्लान इस ढंग से बनाऊंगी मार्च 22 में जो है मेरे रेशियो थोड़ा एक्सेप्टेबल लेवल पे आ जाते हैं क्या. So what I am trying to say is that as practitioners, particularly those of us who are practicing catering to your MSME client, we have huge opportunities in the next 3 months, because most of these MSME borrowers has got impacted and they do not have wherewithal by which they would be able to comply with the requirement of the banks, and that is where we as a practitioner can definitely step in, and we can only, in the process of helping the client, we can also earn some decent money out of this. I think with this I have come to an end of my presentation, Shiv Bhagwanji. So we can now have a question answer session. What is the time now? 6:25. Yeah.
You have completed your presentation well within time. If there is any question, members can unmute themselves and ask, or otherwise can put it in chat box.
So I will stop sharing the slide,
Yes.
Bhagwanji.
Yes,
Okay, now,
yes.
so that we can all discuss and yeah, I'm able to see the other side while others were able to probably see me. Yeah.
मेरा एक सवाल ये था कि आपने बोला TOL TNW एडजस्टेड और AT&W जो भी है, ये
हाँ जी।
रेशियो ज्यादा काम करता है कि डेट इक्विटी रेशियो काम करता है ज्यादा?
ऐसा है, डेट इक्विटी रेशियो जो है वो भी देखते हैं और TOL TNW भी देखते हैं, बिकॉज TOL में क्या है कि फाइनली डेट इक्विटी इज ओनली द बैंक्स एक्सपोजर. ओके, TOL में द टोटल आउटस्टैंडिंग एक्सपोजर इज देयर, सो व्हिच कुड बी लेट अस से आपका थर्ड पार्टी का भी है. ओके, तो उसमें जो है ना, इमीडिएटली बैंक द फर्स्ट थिंग दे विल सी इज ऑब्वियसली डेट इक्विटी. ओके, कि मेरा जो है पर्टिकुलरली जो लेंडर्स का है वो क्या है. ठीक है. At the same time, debt equity के सामने, if you have a working capital exposure, no, they will also look at TOL, TNW, because DER is mainly for your term loan exposure.
अच्छा, आपके प्रेजेंटेशन के बाहर मेरा एक सवाल है संजय जी, whether we can do ये
तो
सवाल.
मुझे पता नहीं, या तो मैं इतना क्लियर था कि लोगों को सवाल नहीं है, या तो मैंने जो बोला सबके ऊपर से गया, मुझे पता नहीं.
नहीं संजय जी, उसमें दो इश्यूज है, मैं बताता हूँ. उसमें क्या है कि थाना में जनरल प्रैक्टिशनर आई थिंक 5-10% पीपल आर इनटू फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज, अदरवाइज वो एक इश्यू है. बट लोगों को आता है प्रॉब्लम, जैसे अभी एक प्रॉब्लम मेरे को बहुत ज्यादा है आजकल. मैं देख रहा हूँ, चाहे नेशनलाइज बैंक हो, चाहे प्राइवेट बैंक हो, कोऑपरेटिव बैंक हो, दो कंडीशन बड़ा खतरनाक डालते हैं. और ये कोविड पीरियड में उन लोगों को बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. इन स्पाइट ऑफ देयर अकाउंट इज गुड, they are not able to switch to any other bank who is giving much better interest rate. मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ कि फार्मा केमिकल में कोई कंपनी अच्छी परफॉर्म कर रही है तो आई कैन गेट फंड एट 7.5%. बट कोऑपरेटिव बैंक में है या नेशनलाइज बैंक में अभी भी 10 से 12% के बीच में है एमएसएमई क्लाइंट. बट बैंक सेज कि भाई 4% प्रीपेमेंट पेनल्टी दो और आप दूसरे बैंक में चले जाओ, इवन इन वर्किंग कैपिटल. मैं उनको ये बोल रहा हूं कि मैं रिन्यू ही नहीं करता हूं आपका अकाउंट, आपका रिन्यूअल आप मत कीजिए, आई विल क्लोज योर अकाउंट विद अदर बैंक. देन आल्सो दे आर नॉट एक्सेप्टिंग. इज देयर एनी सॉल्यूशन टू दैट?
सो ऐसा है, जहां तक वर्किंग कैपिटल का है ना, वर्किंग कैपिटल में तो कोई प्रीपेमेंट पेनल्टी का कंसेप्ट ही नहीं है, बिकॉज वर्किंग कैपिटल लोन इज ऑलवेज पेएबल ऑन डिमांड एंड द फैसिलिटी इज ओनली फॉर ए पीरियड ऑफ 1 ईयर. आपने जो एग्रीमेंट भी साइन किया है ना, आपने तो एग्रीमेंट 1 ही साल का साइन किया, एट द एंड ऑफ द 1 ईयर आपका फैसिलिटी तो एक्सपायर हो जाता है. तो ये आपका सिस्टम ऑटोमेटिकली आपकी ड्राइंग पावर 0 कर देगा टिल द टाइम यू डोंट रिक्वेस्ट कि बॉस मेरे को जो चलो अगर रिन्यू नहीं किया तो रिव्यू करके थोड़ा एक्सटेंड तो कर दो 90 डेज के लिए. सो ये जो आपका आप जो बता रहे हैं कि वर्किंग कैपिटल में प्रीपेमेंट है, दैट इज नॉट देयर. ओके, बिकॉज प्रीपेमेंट कैन बी अप्लाइड ओनली व्हेन देयर इज एन टर्म, राइट? There is no term here. Term is only 1 year,
but
it is repayable on demand.
नहीं, but Sanjay ji, I can give you n number of cases where all those banks have charged prepayment penalty.
नहीं, सीसी में नहीं
सीसी
है,
में, सीसी में बोल रहा हूँ. टर्म लोन तो ठीक है.
सीसी में क्या है प्रीपेमेंट में? तो प्रीपेमेंट का उसका यही है ना कि भी आपका जो है ना, आपका लेटेस्ट फैसिलिटी है 31 दिसंबर तक, और आप जून में जा रहे हो तो कहनी से प्रीपेमेंट है, वो बोलेगा है. लेकिन आप दिसंबर में जाओगे बोलेगा प्रीपेमेंट है, तो नहीं है.
नहीं, अगर बैंक इंसिस्ट करती है कि नहीं आप रिन्यूअल भलाई मत कराओ, आप दूसरे बैंक में जा रहे हो बिकॉज इट फंड विल कम फ्रॉम अदर बैंक, व्हाट इज द वे आउट फॉर बोथ?
नहीं, उसका एक ही वे आउट है, उसका कोई, बिकॉज दिस इज नॉट समथिंग विच इज इन अकॉर्डेंस विद द लॉ. आप जो है रिजर्व बैंक को, या तो आपको उनके हायर अप्स को लिखिए, या तो आपको रिजर्व बैंक को लिखना पड़ेगा कि भाई ये जो है मेरा इस ढंग से ऐसी. अपने को एक चीज प्रॉब्लम जो क्या होता है, फाइनली वी आर ऑल इनटू द बिजनेस. ओके, today's situation is that without the bank's consent you can't even open the current account.
Yes.
Okay, so that is where the challenge comes in कि आप उसको जो है लिमिट सैंक्शन करवाओगे नहीं. ओके, दूसरी बैंक जो है जब तक इसकी एनओसी आएगी तब तक डिसबर्स करेगा नहीं। ओके, सो ये प्रैक्टिकल चैलेंज में ये है, तो उसमें जनरली क्या क्या किया जा सकता है कि इफ इज इंसिस्टिंग, लेटर से आपका 31 मार्च को दिसंबर को है ना, आप जो है उसको 1 जनवरी को पे करो। ओके, एंड लेट हिम चार्ज दिस एंड देन यू फाइल ए क्लेम।
आप बोलो आरबीआई ओम्बुड्समैन में जाए।
आरबीआई ओम्बड्समैन की भी जरूरत नहीं है, उनका हर बैंक के लिए एक पहले तो इंटरनल ओम्बड्समैन होता है। द सिस्टम इज, पहले आपको जो है सीधा वी कैन नॉट गो टू द आरबीआई ओम्बड्समैन, बिकॉज आरबीआई ओम्बड्समैन जो है नहीं तो इनको इंटरनल ओम्बड्समैन के पास में भेज देगा। आरबीआई ओम्बड्समैन इज आल्सो नॉट वेरी वेरी इफेक्टिव। इनका जो इंटरनल मैकेनिज्म है ना, आप उस पहले उसको यूज करो।
ओके
ओके, सो इंटरनल मैकेनिज्म में कि आप जो है कि जब आपका मेरा लीगल एग्रीमेंट नहीं है, बिकॉज होता क्या है, मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम वी डोंट कीप ट्रैक ऑफ द टाइमिंग। हाँ, जो दूसरा बैंक आता है वो ये नहीं देखेगा ना 31 दिसंबर में मेरा का एक्सपायर हो रहा है, वो तो 1 तारीख को बोला मेरा आज सैंक्शन होता है, चल मैं तुमको पैसा डिस्बर्स करता हूँ। तो अपना यही कि भैया तू मेरे को सैंक्शन करके रख, डिस्बर्समेंट मेरा जिस दिन ये लिमिट खत्म होगी ना उस दिन लूंगा, मैं पहले नहीं लूंगा। हाँ, अभी उसमें चैलेंज क्या आता है, जो आप बैंक से मान लीजिए आप सैंक्शन करवा रहे हो एक्सिस बैंक से, ओके, तो एक्सिस बैंक बोलेगा यार मेरे को पहले डिस्बर्स करने के पहले उसका जो है एक एनओसी ला के दे, वो एनओसी वो देगा नहीं। हाँ, वो एनओसी देगा नहीं, तो आपको जो है उसको 31 दिसंबर को ही बोलना भैया ये तुम्हारा पैसा है, तुमको तो पेमेंट पेनल्टी चार्ज करना है, चार्ज करो, रिफंड होता है बिल्कुल होगा। लेकिन वो ड्यू डेट के बाद में अगर आपने पैसा दिया है तो, पहले दिया है तो नहीं करेगा वो, ही कैन लेवी इवन फॉर 1 डे आल्सो।
ओके,
हाँ, एंड फाइनली देखिए क्या है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द अमाउंट, इफ द अमाउंट इज लेटर से द प्रीपेमेंट पेनल्टी अमाउंट इज लार्ज, आपके पास में कोर्ट का दरवाजा तो हमेशा खुला है ना। फाइनली एवरीथिंग डिपेंड्स ऑन द रीजनेबलनेस, नो।
बराबर।
हाँ,
नहीं बट क्या है, जैसे मैंने अभी एक 10 करोड़ के लोन पे किया, तो
हाँ,
वो 40 लाख रुपए लगा के बैठा हुआ है।
हाँ,
पार्टी बोल रहा है यार 40 लाख रुपए तो मेरा फंड फ्लो ब्लॉक हो गया ना।
हाँ,
लाइक मेरा रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, आई एम सेविंग 3% बाय शिफ्टिंग टू ए प्राइवेट बैंक और बेटर बैंक, बट प्रॉब्लम ये है मेरे को 40 लाख रुपए अपफ्रंट चुकाना पड़ रहा है, कब आएगा रिफंड?
वो बात सही है। सो दैट्स कॉल द क्लाइंट हैज टू, उसको आपको सिंपल चीज समझाना है यार, 40 लाख रुपए आपका इन्वेस्टमेंट है, उस पे साल का 30 लाख रुपया ब्याज मिल रहा है, इससे अच्छा धंधा क्या हो सकता है।
नहीं बट वो क्या है, क्लाइंट एज ए क्लाइंट वो बोलता है अरे ऐसा जी कहाँ फंसा रहे हो, मेरा 40 लाख रुपए ब्लॉक कर रहे हो।
हाँ,
वो एक उनका नॉर्मल ऑब्जेक्शन जरूर रहता है।
नहीं वो रहेगा,
Anyway,
वो रहेगा क्योंकि उसको दिखता है भाई, उसको सामने उसको तो दिखता है मेरा इमीडिएट आउटफ्लो क्या है, मेरा इमीडिएट लॉस हो गया 40 लाख का।
हाँ,
ठीक है, वहीं पे अपना सीए डिग्री को उसको करना है ना भी, तू एक काम कर, 40 लाख के सामने तेरा 10 साल फैसिलिटी चलेगा ना, साल का 30 लाख रुपया होता है, देखो तेरे को तो 75% का रिटर्न आ रहा है, 60% का रिटर्न आ रहा है, यार कौन से धंधे में आता है भाई।
नहीं वो तो बात बराबर है आपकी।
और फाइनली देखो अभी क्लाइंट को नहीं जाना तो आप क्या कर सकते हो।
यस,
आप जो है घोड़े को तालाब तक लेके ही जा सकते हो ना, जबरदस्ती पानी थोड़ी पिला सकते हो।
बराबर बराबर।
तो वो तो आप उसको सब समझा सकते हो, उसके बाद में भी बोलेगा 40 लाख नहीं देना है तो नहीं देना। बट ऐसा अनरीजनेबल जनरली मैंने देखा होते नहीं है, बिकॉज आप थोड़े ऊपर जाओगे ना, ब्रांच वाला कुछ भी कर सकता है, बिकॉज ब्रांच के लिए जो है वो आपका अकाउंट अच्छा अकाउंट होगा। उसको लगता है कि यार मेरा 10 करोड़ का अकाउंट चला जाएगा, नहीं तो मेरा प्रमोशन अटक जाएगा, मुझे जो है या तो कोई दूसरा अकाउंट ढूंढ के लाऊं मैं। तो कोविड में इतनी मेहनत कौन करेगा, तो इन्हीं को डराता रहता हूँ।
बराबर है।
हाँ, तो उसके लिए थोड़ा ऊपर जाना पड़ेगा।
And I think we should have a record of correspondence also.
हाँ हाँ, देखो ये तो सारे जो है ना चिट्ठी के चाकर बोलते हैं इनको हम लोग। आप वर्बली जो बात करो उसकी कोई वैल्यू नहीं है।
बराबर।
आप वर्बली जो डिस्कस करके आ जाओ कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं, लेकिन बाद में उसको रिकॉर्ड पे लेके आ जाओ। हाँ, तो ये कागज से तो डरते हैं ये।
बराबर। I think there is no question so far in chat box. People have appreciated. नहीं, एक क्वेश्चन आया है, in case of MSME Act, if restructure is done as per 23rd May 2000, where only 9 months moratorium and extended due date for 9 months allowed, can bank restructure said account under new circular that is dated 5th May 21 and allowed moratorium of 24 months as well as due date from initial due date?
Yes, they can. So this is not 23rd May circular. This was August circular, August 6th.
Okay.
August 6, 2020 circular, which was there, which I had covered it also. That if somebody has availed moratorium of only 9 months in the first circular, now they want to avail the, let us say, the balance period of 15 months, they can avail this benefit.
Sure.
Yeah.
संजय जी,
Right.
बिफोर प्रपोजिंग फॉर्मल वोट ऑफ थैंक्स, मैं एक चीज मेरे तहे दिल से आपकी शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहता हूं कि एक फोन कॉल पे 34 साल बाद ही सही आप थाना में कोई सेशन एज ए स्पीकर और एज ए अटेंडेंस लिए हैं. अब नाउ वी वांट टू सी यू इन थाने ब्रांच आइदर एज ए स्पीकर और एज ए अटेंडीज on regular basis. I will send you all the invitation, whatever
Yes, sir.
seminar we will be doing in Thane branch.
श्योर श्योर, इट वुड बी माय प्लेजर. क्या है शिव भगवान जी, मेरा प्रैक्टिस है यहाँ पे, माय ऑफिस इज एट वर्ली.
I know.
Okay. So and I mean hardly in Thane during the time when these seminars are held. Okay. And that's the reason in last 30 years I have never been able to attend any event of our branch, but it would be good to connect with our fellow professionals, because finally जहाँ पे रहते हैं वहाँ से interaction तो होना चाहिए यार. Personal level पे I have been interacting with few, जैसे मंगेश जी से मेरा interaction होता रहता है, विनोद जी से interaction होता रहता है. ठीक है, of course all these are not professional interaction.
Yeah, I know, I know.
ठीक है, आपसे जैसे socially अपना interaction होता है. ठीक है, तो अब साबू जी से बातचीत होती रहती है, बट बाकी अदरवाइज जो है, बिकॉज वी हैव नेवर मेट, तो वो होता नहीं है.
बराबर है. Before I propose formal vote of thanks, or I request Nitesh Bansal to propose formal vote of thanks, there are two announcements. Tomorrow we have very important session. Young and dynamic chartered accountant of our own city, he will be, Onkar Gadgil will be taking interest in ITC, and we will be announcing future events but by tomorrow. And there are social or CSR activities of Thane branch which will be carried out in next week. One is we are arranging blood donation camp for Tata Hospital, because they have requested us for their cancer patient. And I request everyone, आपके children, आपके student, आप जो भी कोई eligible donor है, जरूर आइएगा. उसका Google Doc, उसका registration document, pamphlet will be shortly circulating among you. And second, probably we have got a good donor who says कि भाई आपके कॉलोनी सोसाइटी में जो अंडर प्रिविलेज लोग हैं, जो गरीब है, मेड सर्वेंट हो गया, सिक्योरिटी गार्ड हो गया, इनको आप प्रॉपर मास्क दीजिए, बिकॉज द काइंड ऑफ मास्क, द क्वालिटी ऑफ मास्क दे आर यूजिंग इज नॉट प्रॉपर, एंड प्रोबेबली दे आर शॉर्ट ऑफ मास्क. एक ही मास्क को बार बार पहनते हैं तो गड़बड़ हो जाता है. So I will be receiving those parcel by 1 or 2 days. Once it is received in our branch, I will definitely send information to all of you. If you can take you benefit of it, और आपके आसपास कॉलोनी फ्लैट के आसपास जो भी गरीब तबके के लोग हैं, उनको अगर आप दे सकते हैं अच्छे क्वालिटी के मास्क, तो जरूर बांटे. This we are receiving at free of cost. Absolutely, there will be no cost, and we will make sure that the number of quantity you ask for mask to distribute in your areas, surrounding areas, all those quantities you will be delivered at your home or office by Thane branch or Thane branch staff. Now I request CA Nitesh Bansal to formally propose vote of thanks. Nitesh ji.
Thank you, Asawaj ji.
Yeah.
It's my honor and I am lucky to have the opportunity to give a vote of thanks. On behalf of myself, Thane branch of ICI, and the entire fraternity of the today's Zoom meeting participants, I give a heartfelt vote of thanks to our today's speaker, Shri Sanjay Ji Khemani, who spent his busiest time and shared his knowledge. Today, we had the opportunity to hear your expert knowledge on resolution framework for COVID-19 related stress. And this is definitely help us to handle the financial stress situations for our clients. Your thoughts have enlightened our mind and show us how to deal with financial stress of MSME and other mid-sized businesses. Thank you once again for adorning the occasion and sharing your knowledge and opinion today. I also give a heartfelt vote of thanks to all the participants who have attended the today's seminar and make it successful. Thank you.
Sanjay ji, for your information, as discussed
Thank
earlier,
you,
we
Sri
have
Bhavan ji,
today also
to
220
invite me.
participants.
Sorry, 220 participant.
Yeah,
That's great number, yeah. That's great number.
yeah.
Thanks,
Asav
Sri
ji ke-
Bhavan ji and Thane branch for inviting me and giving me an opportunity to interact with the fellow professional brothers. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. By this, now I declare end of today's session. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar.